So I had a great conversation with a muscle up client, and he was asking me about what I think is the 2 most important muscle up tips that I would give to a beginner. And I wanted to share the answer that I gave him with you in this video, because I think that it can be valuable. In my videos, I give a lot of different tips. Some tips might work for you and not others. So I just like to give all of my tips. But if I would really break it down, what tips have worked the best for my clients, both in the beginning phase of their muscle up journey, but also when they started their weighted muscle up journey, because that is a little bit different. Some techniques that works for your body weight muscle up doesn't work as well when you start adding weight. So I would say the main 2 muscle up tips that works for your resistance band muscle ups, to your body weight muscle ups, and to your weighted muscle ups is: number 1, you need to be able to pull the bar to under your chest. That's the minimum explosive requirement that you need. You need to pull your bar and then touching the bar under your chest. Best case scenario, you want to be able to pull it a little bit lower as well, to your belly button or waist, but under your chest works well, because when you start doing your weighted muscle up, most of the time you won't be able to pull the bar to your belly button when you're starting to add weight, but you need to be able to pull it to under your chest. So that is the first important tip. So if you're doing your resistance band muscle ups and you can't pull the bar to under your chest, the best thing that you can do for your practice is to use a slightly thicker resistance band and see if you can pull the bar to under your chest, because if you can, then it's all about the technique part of the muscle up. So this is my first tip. And my last tip, my second tip, is you need to be able to forcefully throw your chest over the bar, like you're doing an aggressive sit-up in the air. And I will show you how you can actually practice to become stronger in your aggressive sit-up in the air. So in my gym, I have this machine right here, which is an ab machine, and I load it up as heavy as I can and do around 5 to 10 repetitions. And I focus on doing it as explosively as I can to mimic the muscle up transition the best. So this has actually helped me with the throwing the chest over the bar cue in my muscle up. So the focus of today's workout was showing you the aggressive sit-up in the air technique, as well as trying some other techniques that I will go through as you watch this workout. As usual, I'm warming up with the purple resistance band and then the black resistance band, and the focus is the transition. To transition as fast as possible over the bar, which means throwing the chest over the bar as fast as I can. It might not look fast, but I'm really trying to do it as fast as I can. The actual workout is 3 muscle ups for 5 sets. In the first set, I'm focusing on pulling with my armpits and throwing my chest forward as fast as I can. In the second set, I'm focusing on my biceps when I'm pulling up, and then throwing my chest forward as fast as I can. In the third set, I'm focusing on pulling a little bit later in the swing, and then throwing my chest forward as fast as possible. In this fourth set, I'm playing with a more overhand grip. You can see my knuckles is more facing the sky instead of facing more backwards, as when you are hanging with a normal pull-up bar grip. I'm not as strong in this grip, but the advantages here is that you don't have to pull as high in order to transition over the bar. And in the fifth and last set, I'm not using gloves. Also just to get used to different ways of doing the muscle up. But the common theme with all these muscle up sets was throwing the chest forward as fast as possible. Hi Mike, good time to speak about grip, especially on thicker bar. I'm still working with 25 kilo elastic band. Outside the bar is thinner and it looks easier to rotate the hands and not lose the bar because of tiredness. Inside I use a thicker bar and it looks like I need to have a overhand grip. especially with tiredness? Thank you for your answer, Philip. Thank you so much for your comment, Philip. And my experience with doing muscle ups on a thicker bar versus a thinner bar is that if you're practicing your muscle ups mainly on a thicker bar, doing muscle ups on a thinner bar will be so much easier. That's my experience. I don't know about you. Please tell me in the comments, what do you prefer, doing muscle ups on a thicker bar or a thinner bar? And Jake writes, for keeping the legs in line with the body, besides a smaller swing and pulling later, I think you also mentioned before how the 2-point pull-up can help. It helped me. I think it's harder to control your legs if you pull with 100% power from the start. Yeah, thank you so much for reminding me about that, Jake. And this was a question about how to keep the legs in line with the body when you're doing the muscle up instead of the legs flaring out. So as Jake writes, if you pull with like 50 to 70% of your power until 90 degrees, and then from here explode over the bar, your legs will follow your body in a much more controlled way than if you're just pulling with 100% of your power from the start. And please tell me in the comments if you try this technique that I just described and if it's working for you or not. Thank you so much for the video, Mike. After a long time of doing one muscle up, I still do it with kipping and all. Do you think I should start attempting to do muscle ups for reps, or do I focus on cleaning the muscle up to stop kipping and do it with straight legs first? And whichever you think I should do first, how do I start doing it? Thanks again. Yeah, I think in this case it would be great to regress a little bit and doing muscle ups with the red resistance band, which is kind of thin. I don't know exactly how much assistance that red band gives you, but in my experience working with clients, when you can do 5 reps for 3 to 5 sets with the red resistance band and you're training that with clean form, like with straight legs and no kipping, you have like 2 to 3 clean bodyweight muscle ups. So instead of just training like single bodyweight muscle ups with a little bit of kip, I would just start training it with resistance bands again to get some volume in with good technique. I hope that helps. I'm thinking of using gloves. I use a thumbless grip to reduce friction on the bar, but even then it gets harder to overcome that resistance after 5 reps. Also, the bar is painted, not bare metal. I was wondering, are you able to perform slow muscle ups? Thank you so much for your question. I actually haven't tried slow muscle ups. To be honest, I don't think I would be able to do it, but I will give it a try in the near future. And as you can see in most of my videos, I'm using gloves, and the type of glove I'm using is just simple like cotton gloves that I buy from my local pharmacy. And I use them because I want to be able to rotate my hands around the bar freely. I don't want my hands to stick, and there are some pros and cons to that. The con is that your grip isn't as firm as when you're using chalk. When you're using chalk, you really have like a strong, good grip, and especially if you're using the slide overhand grip, and you see that people that use the slide overhand grip most of the time use chalk to be able to hang from that grip in an effortless way. So I would say that is the cons of using gloves. And for me, the pros of using gloves is that the transition becomes easier and smoother because you can really rotate your hands. And because I don't use the overhand grip when I'm doing muscle ups, I'm just hanging like from a normal regular pull-up bar grip. The gloves works great for me. Please tell me in the comments, do you like using chalk for your muscle ups or gloves or nothing at all? I would love to know.